Hey fishing friends, today on KastKing Keeps It Wild, we are traveling to the Willamette River, which is near Oregon City, Oregon, to speak with Bob Rees, who's the Executive Director of the Association of Northwest Steelheaders. We've asked Bob to join us and speak to us about one of their projects, which is called the Quest for 100K, which has to do with bringing back spring Chinook to the Willamette River. Bob has been a professional guide in Oregon for 21 years, and he worked in Alaska for 6 years. Bob is the founder and past president of the Northwest Guides and Anglers. Bob also formerly served on the board of Northwest Sport Fishing Association. Salmon and Steelhead Journal named Bob one of the top 25 fishing guides of Alaska, Washington State, and Oregon. Bob writes a weekly column for the Portland Tribune, and he also writes for the Salmon, Trout, and Steelheaders magazine. Bob is the publisher and founder of Oregon's most reliable fishing report, the Guides Forecast. I was lucky enough to be able to speak with Bob and ask him some questions about the Willamette River and their efforts that they're doing for conservation. Bob, can you tell me what the biggest threat to wild steelhead and salmon are in the Willamette River today?
You know, there's several threats to salmon and steelhead on the Willamette system. Kind of one of the crisis situations that's happening right now is numerous pinniped sea lions have taken up residences in this area, and they're consuming salmon and steelhead at an alarming rate. We're hoping to have an amendment to the Marine Mammal Protection Act that will address the fact that up to 25% of the wild winter steelhead are being consumed by these pinnipeds. Then we can move on to bigger issues that are really having a more dramatic impact on wild salmon. That's the dam system that exists in the upper basin. In particular, 5 systems that's cutting off around 400 miles of high-quality spawning and rearing habitat.
Bob, I understand this has had a significant impact on steelheads and salmon in the Willamette River. Can you tell me what that looked like, or what the numbers were about 10, 20 years ago, and how that compares to now?
Yeah, there are several benchmarks to look at when it comes to recovering these wild salmon and steelhead. In particular, pre-European settlement, before we made major modifications to the watershed, we had around 300,000 wild salmon come back to the system. Now on a good year, we're lucky to see between 15 and 20,000 fish. 10 and 20 years ago, we've had 80, 90, and 100,000 fish returns. That's what we're trying to achieve through this Quest for 100K initiative.
That is incredible. Now, Bob, can you tell us a little bit about the Quest for 100K to bring back salmon to restore their numbers to their full potential of what they used to be?
Sure, yeah. The Association of Northwest Steelheaders launched its Quest for 100K initiative in January of this year. There's 4 important components to the campaign that we hope to initiate. First one being address the crisis sea lion pinniped predation that's happening here at Willamette Falls. The second is to open up the nearly 400 miles of high-quality habitat above 5 major impediments in the upper basin, dams that is. Both spawning and rearing habitat have tremendous potential up there. The third leg is to address water management. How best can we get those smolts downstream into the ocean to have better returns? And the fourth and final component is to improve the genetics in our hatchery stock by implementing wild broodstock into the hatchery programs, therefore upping the fitness, having higher return rates, and the overall success and abundance of the run.
Thank you so much for what you do, Bob. You set such an amazing example for everyone everywhere that is trying to help their local fisheries and waterways get back to what they used to be. What advice would you give someone that's looking to get into conservation in their area?
There's fewer people more invested in the recovery of these wild salmon and steelhead than sport anglers themselves. I think what's really important is you get involved with a conservation organization such as the Association of Northwest Steelheaders, who are leading the charge in some of these conservation issues and initiatives to return these fish, not just for our sport, but for the legacy and the value that salmon and steelhead provide for folks in the Pacific Northwest.
That is amazing information, Bob. Thank you. Now, could you please tell us how others could get involved with your Quest for 100K to restore spring salmon to the Willamette River?
This is an initiative that we cannot do alone. We need to have greater public involvement, greater angler involvement to ensure that we reach our objective of 100,000 spring Chinook back to the basin. A great first step is to go to our online petition at www.nwsteelheaders.org, sign your name to that petition, and join the growing number of citizens that are demanding that we get 100,000 spring salmon back to the system. The $1 million rally brought about by KastKing is an important component to the success of this initiative. Without corporate backing, it's going to be really challenging for citizens and our policymakers to get behind what we're trying to accomplish here. Thanks to the $1 million rally and what KastKing's bringing to the conversation, we are going to achieve our objective of 100,000 spring Chinook back to this basin for the benefit of all folks in the Pacific Northwest.
Thank you so much for what you do. It was so amazing to be able to speak with Bob Rees. What an influential and inspiring person, and he's just doing such great things for the environment and for fisheries and waterways, and we need more people like him. And thank you everyone at the Northwest Steelheaders Association. You guys are incredible and you're doing such great work. We are all so grateful for the things that y'all are doing. You set great examples for everybody. It starts with us. Thank you for watching. Until next time, thank you.
There he goes, ripping. Nice fish. Yeah. Just keep that rod tip low. Good job. There you go. Is it? Oh yeah, sure looks like it. Woohoo! That is a hatchery fish. That's a good one too. All right. Whew, got it. There we go. Give me a minute and let me catch my breath a little bit. Let me get over this heart attack first. Yeah, this is a nice broodstock fish that whose parents were of wild origin. What makes this program so successful is that this fish's parents were caught on rod and reel, and we're breeding biters versus breeding hatchery fish that made it back to the hatchery without being harvested. So it's really been a tremendously successful program. These fish here, they are more robust in size than some of the washed out hatchery stocks that we've historically used on the coast. They distribute better in the river system, and because they exhibit a lot of the characteristics of a wild fish, they're more aggressive, so the catch rates on these broodstock fish are also higher. Overall, it's a great product. It's been a huge success. This broodstock program has been 15 years in the making here on the coast, and as soon as we get some of our wild stocks in order on some of the other river systems, we're looking at implementing these strategies on those river systems as well.
Hey fishing friends, I'm Kristen with the KastKing channel. I really hope y'all enjoyed the video of our interview with Bob Rees. Here's an update on the 3-month decomposition of our BioSpool. I hope y'all enjoy. Till next time.